Hi guys, how are we doing? Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to have the 15,000 subscriber Q&A, or should I say 17,000 subscriber Q&A. You guys just keep on coming, which is fantastic. Keep subscribing. Anyway, what we'll do, I asked you all sort of back at the weekend to get your comments in on the video that I put up, and also a few comments on Instagram. So I'm just going to go through each one and answer your questions like good old Q&A. So let's just get started. First off, MXCK says, what made you start bricklaying? Well, where do I even start with that? My dad's a bricklayer, or was a bricklayer. My great-granddad was a bricklayer. My uncles are bricklayers. It was almost destined to be, let's say. So I just sort of followed in my dad's footsteps, really. I grew up around it, and from there, I just really enjoyed it. I just watched my dad doing it. I used to go and work on site with him, because he used to be self-employed. I used to go and work with him on sort of school holidays and things like that, and sometimes weekends and things like that, and just went from there. I just really enjoyed it, really loved it. So I've been sort of laying bricks. My mum's actually got photos of her house somewhere of me with a trowel in my hand at like the age of like 3 or 4. So yeah, it's sort of in the blood. That's what made me start. My dad was a bricklayer, and I guess I wanted to be like my dad. So there we go. Hopefully that answered your question. Alistair Smith. How long did that chair take to build? Well, this chair, it took me, I started it on a Tuesday and I finished it on a Friday. So 4 days, but a lot of that was cutting, and they weren't like 8-hour days. I can't remember how long each particular day was, and also the filming as well took up a great bunch of time as well. So if I was just to build this chair without filming or anything like that, I'd probably say 3 to 4 days, but some of those days were quite stressful. And yeah, I'd probably, if I was quoting a job for it, I'd say it'd take me a week, 5 days. So, but it took me 4. So there you go. The long answer, but there you go. Ian Howard, only one. What's the point? No, a bit of a redundant question. Have you done a video on lintels or steels? I'm building my extension whilst we are off work and wondered if you can put concrete lintels onto thermalite block above windows. And that is from Ashley Pode. I haven't done a video on steels or lintels. There was a video I did where I put the steels in the house that I'm building, but nothing sort of like a tutorial based video. But that is something that I will get to do in the future. I'm going to be doing a how to build an extension series, and I'll get into more detail about it then. But for the moment, I haven't got a video on it, no. And can you put concrete lintels onto thermite block? You can. It depends if you are doing an extension. It says here you are building an extension. I wouldn't suggest putting concrete lintels on. You'd want to get proper cavity lintels to go over your windows in your extension. So hopefully that answered your question. Dominic Hepworth, has your wife got a single twin sister? No, she doesn't. Marco P. Question, your name is fantastic, thank you very much. Is it Star Wars inspired, and if so, are you a reptilian? It is not Star Wars inspired, no, but there are Rhodians. I think it's Greedo, who Han Solo shoots in, I forget which one it is, A New Hope, the fourth Star Wars. I think it's Greedo. He's a Rhodian. And no, I used to be able to speak a little bit of Rhodian, but I can't remember for the life of me what it is now. My name is actually an anagram of my mum and dad's name. And it'd be interesting to see if anyone can guess that. Right, okay, so hopefully that answered your question. Eva Mark de Boer, I'm going to participate in the bricklaying competitions next year. Do you have tips? And have you ever participated, or do you not have that in the UK? Greetings from Holland. Well, hi from Holland. Hi to Holland, sorry. Holland. I've been to Belgium, which is not too far from Holland, beautiful part of the world. We do have competitions. When I was an apprentice, I entered into the skill build competition twice. Any tips? I came third the first time I went in, and I came first the second time I went in. And I would suggest that pay more attention to getting everything built very precise than actually finishing the build. Because the time when I won, I didn't actually finish the build, but I won it because of how precise my brickwork was. The two people did finish it, but both of them finished behind me because they were more concentrated on speed and getting it finished than actually the precision of the brickwork. They look more favourably on how precise your brickwork is than if you finished it or not. So hopefully that answers your question. Wumpty, what made you start bricklaying when you were younger? Hopefully I answered that previously. Are you going to use pick and dip in your videos when you're running to a line, or better yet, teach it to your wife and make a video on it? I will be using the pick and dip method when running on a line, when I'm on large flanks, things like tutorials and smaller precise builds. Like if I was building the play button or this, obviously I wouldn't use it, but laying on a line at big flank, then for sure I'd use pick and dip so much quicker, as I showed in the video that I did a while back. Teach it to your wife. I think she'd be really good at pick and dip actually. I did touch on that in one of our challenge videos. If you haven't seen our challenge videos, then go check those out. They're actually a lot of fun. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question. Owen Bradbury, any old school bricklaying bricks you recommend? Not so much old school, but I have made a video about the BDA Guide to Successful Bricklaying. I'll leave a link to the video and the book in the description. Fantastic book. It helped me out immensely when I was in college, and I would definitely suggest, it's helped me out since college as well. So continuing on, I call it the Bricklaying Bible. So I would highly suggest taking a look at that. Also the Nash books, I don't know if you can buy them anymore, but they are pretty good as well. So hopefully that answered your question. Todd Roman, what cavity wall insulation do you prefer, rock wool type or foam or other, and why? As in, which one is nicer to use as a tradesperson, and when are you getting a new pair of boots? I have got a pair of boots on order. They are coming, so I will have boots, but during the lockdown, which is what's happening at the moment, things take a lot longer to get to us, but new boots on the way. Cavity wall insulation do you prefer? I prefer partial fill, 50mm, well, half of the cavity depending on what size cavity, but generally it's 100mm cavity. I prefer 50mm Celotex Kingspan, the foil backed insulation partial fill. I much prefer that. And why? I find that a cavity is there for a reason, to stop the damp ingress from the outer wall to the inner wall. Now I find if you pack it full of that wool insulation, there's a more of a likely chance that that wool insulation can get damp. If it's real driving rain, that it can come through, get that damp, and therefore could possibly breach into the inner leaf. That is my belief. Now I haven't actually seen it, but that's my belief. If you have a cavity, the cavity's there, it's not really there, it's supposed to be there to get filled up, so why fill it up? I'd say half fill it with some dense insulation, and I also like the fact that it's got foil back to keep the heat in and the cold out, or vice versa. So those are the reasons why I like that, and hopefully that has answered your question. Daniel James, can you break down the costings of your build and what would have cost if you paid trades to do work, please? Now, I haven't totaled everything up yet, so I can't really answer that question just yet. Sorry about that. I'm going to do an in-depth cost once the first house is done, so hopefully you can tune in then and answer your question, because to be perfectly honest with you, at the moment it's a lot for me to sit down and work it out now, so that is something that I will have to do at a later date. Scott Jeffrey, how do you cut the bricks to the right size on top left right corner of the chair? Oh, these ones up here. Do you just do it by eye or measure somehow? Also a video of this would be great. Okay, so I put a photo on Instagram a few days before I uploaded this video. It's a picture, I'll put it up on screen. There's a picture of me, basically they're voussoirs. So I marked out the square of where the back of the chair is going to be, and I've also done a video on voussoirs, so I'll leave that in the description. I just cut voussoirs for it. If you do want to learn more about that, like I said, the video will be in the description, and that is how I did it. It's not by eye, everything is done by measurements. But hopefully that has answered your question, and yeah, if you are interested in that voussoir video, go down below. And that picture I put on Instagram was me working out how it fits in, so go over there and check that out. By the way, if you aren't following me on Instagram, then rhodium_builds on Instagram, go and check it out over there. There's loads of bricklaying content over there as well. Okay, Smithy TV, how did you get into bricklaying, and how do you think of video ideas? Hopefully I've already answered the how did I get into bricklaying, obviously my dad. How do you think of video ideas? That's quite a difficult one. Sometimes they just come to me. Like the idea for the chair, I was like, oh, I've built the play button, what am I going to do? And I always think that I'm always crouching down when I'm doing like intros to videos, and think, oh, it'd be nice to have a chair or something. And that's just where that came. A lot of them, they just pop into my head, but that's where the idea of that one came from. Sometimes I have comments and I think, oh, that's a fantastic idea. So everyone just keep commenting and let me know video ideas, because it does help massively. especially now when I'm sort of churning through a few more videos. And also I just think back to what I was taught in college when it comes to tutorials, and I just like to give my own take on what I learned in college really. So hopefully that helps. And obviously with the house, that's sort of pretty much said as it is. I'm building a house, so I can just vlog it as I go. That one's quite simple. So hopefully that answered your question. Mr. CTop93, welcome back. I always see you down in the comments, a good old regular there. So how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. His question is, or her question is, I'm assuming it's a him with a mister. Do you intend on start back working on site or private jobs? And if so, will you vlog them? Now, I don't think I'll ever go back on site. I just don't enjoy being on site. I don't like doing site work, not anymore. I used to do a lot of it, but I much prefer doing private jobs. I don't have any plans to do any yet, obviously with the houses, but afterwards, for sure, 100%, I'll do private jobs. But I have a lot of ideas of what I'm going to do after these houses, like shoot these blooming planes out of the sky. Quarantine, mate, come along. You're going to have to put up with that because I need to film this. I have other plans for things that I want to do after these two houses are built, which means other property possibly, but also I would like to coincide that with doing private jobs. Yeah, if people want me to do private jobs, for sure I will. Jim geared up for the gym. Top lad, just give me a thumbs up. He's always about, so good to hear from you. Question from one Clinker Man. How do you lay out an octagon chimney stack around a 6-inch flue? Should one use a template top and bottom with vertical plumb lines? I would assume so. If so, how would you suspend the top template? Thank you from the US of A for your wonderful videos, knowledge, share. Cheers, Jamie. Well, thank you, Jamie. Thanks for that. In regards to an octagon chimney, I would say just set out the bottom as you would do with any other chimney and just plumb it up as you build. I wouldn't say you'd have to set up a template top and bottom and have string lines. If you had scaffolding up, then I'd say it's a good idea, but I would probably just say just build it up with the level as you go, as you would do with a square, pier, or anything similar to that. Hopefully that answered your question. John Bokits, how do you get that chair up the stairs? You build a set of stairs next to it and knock it down and take it up and build another set, build it upstairs. It ain't going upstairs, basically, put it that way. Hopefully that answered your question. Lethal Outdoors. Hey mate, happy Easter. Happy Easter to you too. Hope you had a good one. The question is, do you ever get to play around with slate and stone? Is stonemasonry similar to bricklaying? I haven't done much stonemasonry. I've laid a few bits of stone here and there. Not slate. I've played with a little bit of stone, but not really much at all. So I haven't had a chance, no. And I would like to try it. Stonemasonry is something that is, I think, is a whole different art. With bricks, you can lay to a line, and it's very simple. You just put the top arrows against the line and lay to it. With stone, you don't really have nice cut stone. You just have to. A lot of it, I guess, is done by eye. It'd be interesting to hear from some American stonemasons, also English stonemasons. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Next one, Bexhill Windows. Hi, great channel, mate. Thank you very much. Can you explain the mental mindset that requires to plan, start, and continue to the end of the project? It seems you need a dogged determination. I tend to get easily distracted and then sometimes don't go back to it. Hence, I'm surrounded by unfinished projects. Now, that is quite the question. The planning part of it, you get an architect to do that for you. And obviously you just say what you want and then they'll do it. The start of it is always the most energetic because you're looking forward to doing it, and you just have to have in your mind, I guess you need a bit of experience on running jobs because, I suppose you don't need experience, but you have to sort of, if you don't have any experience doing it, sit down and think what needs to go in first. Like for example, digging out the footings, you need to get the digger sourced in. If you need to hire one, you need to forethink at least 2 or 3 weeks ahead for things like bricks in case there's a delay in getting bricks, like windows and doors. They generally have like a 2 to 3 week turnaround, so you have to think ahead. A lot of it is thinking ahead. And in regards to the determination, that is something that is very difficult. That is the hardest part with this build specifically, is the get up and go. Sometimes you get up and go, just got up and gone. But for me personally, making the vlogs and the videos has been the biggest sort of push to help me do the build, because all you guys want to see it done and I want to see it done, but also it's the getting up and doing it. So hopefully that has answered your question. It is quite difficult. You have to be you have to have a lot of willpower to do it. You can't just think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, because especially me doing it on my own, nothing will get done tomorrow if you just wait till tomorrow. But yeah, hopefully that is an insight. Eugene Vaticanator, hopefully I said that right. As a brickie, do you know what will be stable? Sorry, let me say that again. As a brickie, do you know what will be stable and what won't? If I want to cut out a door in an existing brick wall to join 2 rooms, is that something you could do? Or does it need an engineer's sign off? Love your work, by the way. Your bricklaying for beginners is super informative and consistent with your videos. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Bricklaying for beginners playlist is down in the description if you are interested. In regards to cutting out doors and things, cutting out doors, yes, you can do it for sure. With a doorway, you don't need an engineer's sign off. With a doorway, you have to check to see if it's load bearing above you, and if it is load bearing, you'd have to use things like acros and strong boys to hold the wall up above it. Then you can cut it out, put in a lintel, and then take the acros and etc. down. If it's not load bearing, then just knock the wall down. When it comes to anything bigger than doorway, like for example, if you need to put steels in and you're knocking the whole wall down, then that is where you need to get an engineer to come in, check it, make sure it's all good, and you have to have, you most likely have to have an architect, or not an architect, not necessarily an architect, sorry, a structural engineer, tell you what size beam you need. They'll have to come in, they'll have to check the load and the load of the wall and make sure that a particular steel will go in and that particular steel will be enough to hold up everything above whatever it is you're taking down. Hopefully that answered your question, but yeah, structural engineer, they can be your best friend sometimes. Gary C, looks the nuts rod, thank you very much. I'm assuming you're talking about the chair. Jonathan Waller, what do you prefer to lay, metric or imperial, and cement or lime mortar? I don't mind metric or imperial, either or. Metric feel a lot easier in the hand because they're smaller, but either or, it doesn't bother me, I'm not that fussed. But what I am fussed about is the muck I'm using. Cement or lime? I much prefer using cement. Lime, I find it a little bit, you don't get quite the consistency you do with normal cement, like sand and cement mortar. Yeah, so lime, I find it is a little bit, it feels too much like wet sand rather than muck, because I guess it is just wet sand with a bit of lime in it to fed it up a bit. So yeah, I don't mind what bricks I use, and I much prefer using cement over lime. Okay, next one, Bonza time. Are you going to tour America like the Beatles and Rolling Stones? Okay, so yes, to answer your question, I have bucket lists. Bucket list, I wanted to build a house by myself. I've done that. 2, I want to lay bricks in every state in America. Well, I'd like to lay bricks in every country in the world, but that would be one hell of a tour. I don't know, would that be something you'd want to see? That would be interesting, laying bricks in every country in the world. That would take a while. But yeah, I'd like to do every state in America. I'd like to lay bricks in every state in America. I also like to lay bricks in Canada. So that goes back to the point of every country in the world. But yes, I am very much, me and my wife are very much thinking about doing a tour of America. Not sure when, obviously when the houses are done. But yeah, so keep your eyes peeled. If you would like to see me lay bricks in every country in every state in America, let me know in the comments. Plus, if you are an American mason or an American bricklayer and you would like me to come and help you, or sorry, let me rephrase that. If I can come and help you lay a few bricks or lay a bit of stone, that would be fantastic. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. Zed Kruger, do you think you made the armrest a little bit too high? No, definitely not. I had this thought. I did think about having it one course below, but I like how this feels on my arms. Down below, one course below, it felt like I'm slouching too much. This, I feel like I'm sitting perfectly. I could sit here with a beer or whatever. Perfect height for me, if I do say so myself. So, no, I don't think I did make it too high. Personal preference, I suppose. What is your favourite bond? Flemish bond all day long. And that goes to game, I'm not going to be able to pronounce your second name of this. Weke Wiki flipping hell. Game WikiLogix. I'm sorry if I butchered that, but that's a hard one to read. Yeah, what is your favourite bond? My favourite bond is Flemish bond. All day long. Hasman says, this is your question, NHBC overkill, or do you agree with what they expect? Now the NHBC is almost like an insurance, not really an insurance company, but basically they come and check the build of your house to make sure it complies, and then you can have it covered. So I think it's 10 years it's covered for, or something along those lines. Overkill, or do you agree with what I expect? I think that in regards to things like building inspections and things like that, they're all gonna, I wouldn't call it overkill, because there are a lot of sloppy people out there. So I don't mind overkill building. Like if you're building a house and they come and say, oh, put this extra in, like if they want extra wall ties in, then fair enough. If they want extra this in, then fair enough. If they want this done this way, I'm all happy with that. I don't mind, as long as it's not too over the top. But I think with what I'm pretty much on board with what they expect. I like not overkill, but belt and braces. You want to go a little bit overboard. So I'm sort of on board with what they say. Hopefully that answers your question. Alione S says, I'd like to see a collab between you, Stu Crompton, Rob Songer and Mark Hepp. Well, that would be quite... All of us are from different parts of the country, so I don't know if that would ever come around, but I'm all for collabing with everyone, all other channels. I think that's a fantastic way of growing. So, and it's just meeting new people. Why the hell would you not want to collab? I'd love to collab with a lot of other people. So if you are another bricklaying channel and you're interested in collabing with me, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Gifted Uplifted asks, why bricklaying? Why should someone start? I'm already a brickie, but for those coming up, bricklaying, and why and how did you get into it? Thanks again for your content. Carl H from New York, NC, USA. That's not, where is NC? I don't know the acronyms for the states. I should do it for one of like bricks and all of them. But NC, anyway, Carl H from NC, USA. Why bricklaying? Hopefully I've already answered the fact of why I got into bricklaying, but why should someone start? I have always thought, and I've said to a lot of people, everyone needs a house. Who's going to build these houses? Bricklayers. The way that I see it, not necessarily bricklayers, there's multiple different trades like carpenters, but especially in England, a lot of them are built out of brick. I've always said that a trade is something that you can always go back to. Like for example, you don't ever really want it to have it as a second-hand trade, but I would always say it's just a fantastic trade to be in. Bricklaying, I think, is a fantastic trade to be in. It's more than, like woodwork, it's more than just building a wall. You can be so creative. Like, look at this, building a chair. You build chairs out of wood all the time, but you don't build them out of brick. You can build, I think there's such a beauty in brickwork. When you walk around, for example, I walk around London. I'm going to do a tour of London, the brickwork hotspots, once lockdown's over. Just looking at the buildings, some of the buildings are fantastic. And also, I would say job satisfaction is just through the roof. Once you've built something, you look at it and go, I built that. And then that could stand there for 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, all depends. Depends what you're building. Like these houses here, they're going to stand there for years, I hope. So I would say it is a trade that's going to last a long time. It is immense job satisfaction, the money's good. And it's just a creative outlook. There's so many, it's problem solving as well, building houses or building extensions, for example. If I'm taking a job on doing extension for someone, there's a few things that need moving around. There's so much creativity, there's so much open-ended creativity in bricklaying, not specifically bricklaying, but a trade. I just hopefully that came across as how I wanted to explain it. But there we go, hopefully that's answered your question. Joshua Pope, I know another regular there. How much did the house cost you to build from start to now? Again, I'm not 100% sure right now. I need to check the numbers, but it's something I'm going to do an in-depth video on once the houses are built, or once the first house is built. So hopefully that'll answer your question when we get around to it. Owen Donnelly, what do you think of the bricky tool? I'd say it's a load of crap. I did a video on it. A lot of people thought that I was promoting it to start with, and no, I was not promoting it. I was just having fun using it, and I would say that is all it's worth for, having fun to use it. I wouldn't suggest buying it. I wouldn't suggest spending money on it. I would suggest spending money on equivalent amount of money on some basic hand tools to see if you like bricklaying, because in the long and short of it is that tool doesn't work. You can put, you're essentially just putting bricks on top of mortar. There's no suction, there's no adhesion. You can't compress the brick into the mortar, which is what helps sticks the bricks together. And you can just, as you saw it, for those of you who watched to the end, because a lot of people didn't watch the end of that video and see me slating it, the bricks they just get knocked over so easily. So I don't think that's a good tool whatsoever, and I would not recommend it at all to anyone. buy some cheap. The old Bill, I'm making a video. I know you're probably off somewhere important, but we'll wait a second. Okay, so next one, hopefully Owen Donnelly, that answered your question. So the next one, official iuxAM, did you do another job while building the house? No, I didn't. That was my full-time job, doing that, doing the house. Okay, the next one, Mark Hepp. Hello, Mark. Hope you're doing well. And I would just like to say, Mark is so close to hitting 1,000 subs. So if everyone wants to go and check out another talented bricklayer, I will leave a link to his channel down in the description. Let's all go over there, get him over 1,000 because he's so close to it. So go and check his channel out. I've thoroughly enjoyed what you're doing there, and it looks like you're going to start doing some extension videos as well. You got that arch video on there. I love that arch video you did. Very good, very good. I love it. So everyone, go and check out Mark Hepp. Link down in the description. His question is, hi mate, you ready to roll on the house when it's over, and what is the first thing you're going to get done on it? So I'm currently still doing, I've got a couple of videos that I'm going to be doing in lockdown. I'm leading around all the dormers, and then I'm going to be putting all the cladding around all the dormers as well. And if I can get hold of any, I'm going to put the guttering on. So the first thing that's going to be done after that, I am speaking with the people to do all doors and windows. They're saying their manufacturers are all down, so nothing's going to happen yet, but hopefully doors and windows, get the scaffolding down, and then from there it's going to be first fix, things like that. I'm also going to have to be in touch with the gas suppliers, electric suppliers, water suppliers to get new feeds into the house, but they are all on furlough as well, so I can't really get in contact with anyone at the moment, which is a bit of a pain. Hopefully that answers your question. Everyone go follow Mark Hepp, top lad. Okay, so Dom Kaploe, hopefully I pronounced your name right. Hi Rodin, I would like to ask, have you already built a brick dome house? I have not built a brick dome house, and I'm going to have to quickly turn the camera on and off again because I've only got a 30-minute record time, so I'll be back in a second. But before that, I'll answer your question. Have you ever built a brick dome house? I have never built a brick dome house, no, and I'll tell you what, that is something that I would like to do in the future. Okay, so yeah, Dom Kaploe, hopefully that answers your question. Hopefully I pronounced your name right as well. Okay, Eddie Clark, have you got any cement for sale? It's like gold dust at the moment. Unfortunately not. I've got 2 bags and that's it. Can't find any anywhere. Also, sand is something of a rarity as well. I tried to order some the other day, and it turns out the closest place it's got is in Grimsby. So if you're in Grimsby, you've got plenty there. Okay, so William Peckham, how much training do fully qualified bricklayers get in other trades like stonemasonry, concreting, etc.? I don't really know, to be perfectly honest with you. If you look into it and request it, I guess you could get training in it, but I guess it's something you'd have to, I really don't know. I haven't even looked into trying to find out any additional training for me. But I think if you are working for a firm, I guess there's more of a likely chance that you are able to get additional training. But in all honesty, I don't know. Hopefully there's some people out there that could reply to that question and answer it better than me. But yeah, I'm sorry, William, I really don't know. Dean Locke, best way to clean muck off the face of brickwork and angle for shaving and saving muck. Right, okay, 45-degree angle. I would say 45-degree angle down, 45-degree tilt your blade out and just run it across the front of your brickwork, and that'll cut it away nicely. Pretty much most things are 45-degree angles when it comes to brickwork and your trowel and the brick, in my opinion anyway. Best way to clean muck off the face of your brickwork. It depends. If it's smudged, then you're probably best off using brick acid. But if it is just a small little smudge, then there's a high chance that don't try and scrape it off straight away. Let it dry, and with a stiff brush afterwards, it could come off. But like I say, either that method, once you brush your brickwork down after you've jointed it up, a lot of the time any small little smudges or bits of muck on there will come off. But like I say, if that doesn't come off, try it sort of a bit later on with a stiffer brush, and if that still doesn't work, then you're gonna have to resort to brick acid. And if that doesn't do it, then I'm sorry to say you're stuck with it, mate. Hopefully that answers your question. Kieran Higgins, hi mate, bit of a weird one. Not sure if you've seen this, but what's your opinion on some of these bricks coming to us with no polythene over them, especially the Ibstocks? I've just done a job using the tradesman heather, and the staining was a pig to keep down due to them being wet. PS, love the vids. do you do much natural stone as well? I don't do much natural stone whatsoever, to be perfectly honest with you. And all my bricks have always come with polythene on them. I don't think I've ever had a set of bricks that doesn't come covered. It's something of a rarity. If something does come, like I've had packs of reclaimed stocks that have come, but they've come wrapped up in polythene. I've never had them without it, so that's a new one for me. I'd say that's not good practice, because you need to keep your bricks dry, and polythene around them is the best way to keep them dry. So, sorry mate, I'm not exactly sure. I can't really comment on that because I've never had it. What is your favourite brick? This is Liam Twist. What is your favourite brickwork part of the house and why? I like the gables where I did the denture course, and the corbels on the end that I managed to mess up twice. Those videos were something of a bit of fun. But yeah, I'd say the corbels on the gables is probably the best, either that or the chimney. Hopefully that answers your question. Cam Swinho, have you got any big projects to build during quarantine? This was one of them. I do have a big project that I am currently working on at the moment. I'm not building it. I'm probably not going to be able to build it till after quarantine, because I need some specific bricks, some very specific bricks. And I can't get in contact with anyone who produces them at the moment because they're all furloughed, they're all obviously quarantined. So that is going to be something completely else, mate. It's going to be, I thought that this was a good idea, but this idea I've had for this next build is just ridiculous. Hopefully I can build it how I can envision it, but I really want to build it so bad. But it's working. I'm working on it in the background, but it probably won't be able to get built during quarantine. Big projects, nothing big like size-wise, but I am thinking a side table might be quite nice, because I've got nowhere to put my bevy, have I? You're all saying cup holders, but I think a nice side table would be good, so that's probably another one. Next one, Michael Razor Page. Hi, I'm so glad I found this channel. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you found it as well. You explain things in a way I can understand. I have always wanted to have a go at bricklaying. Can't wait to watch the rest of your videos. I was wondering if you had any tips on building a garden retaining wall from sandstone. If you already had a video on that, sorry, I didn't see it. I don't have any videos on retaining walls. I have a massive amount of earth that I need to retain, so I will probably be doing a retaining wall video in the future, but at the moment it's not something that I am planning on. But like I said, it will be coming in the future, because I've got probably one of the biggest retaining walls I've ever seen that I need to build. But I'm glad you're enjoying the videos, and thank you very much for coming along. So, always wanted to have a go at bricklaying. Well, hopefully I will do my best to give you enough information about the bricklaying process. Okay, on from there, Michael Razor Page. Again, sorry, I forgot to ask, what is the best way to lay the foundation for the retaining wall? I would say the best way is to just do a foundation as if you would do with any other foundation. With a retaining wall, there are a small retaining wall, like something about sort of like 2-3 foot high. You could probably get away with something like a 500 mil. That's probably excessive for 500 mil foundation, but anything more, you're probably going to, if it's a proper retaining wall, you're probably going to have to speak to a structural engineer in regards to the weights and how much you're going to need to prop it up by. You could probably do a Google search and it might help you find something, because I'm not very versed in how deep you should go with foundations. I generally make my foundations too deep, just because I'm a little bit of a worrier about it. I'd rather go too much than not enough. So with a retaining wall, it depends how big, but it's probably 500 mil, 600, something like that. You don't need to go a metre, that's for an extension, so maybe half that. But it all depends. It all depends how much you're retaining and what it is you're retaining. So hopefully that was of some help. Paul Heppenstall, love your informative vlogs, thank you very much. You make it look so easy, it's not. Can you do a session on building a garden wall using blocks instead of bricks? I have one to build approximately 50 meters in length, which have a 135 degree internal corner angle. Not sure how to tie in the piers at that angle. If I was doing a 135-degree internal corner, I would build the pier slap bang on that internal corner, and I would just cut the walls into it, build them into the pier. I'd have the pier on the corner, so you don't have to have those horrible. I did a video about those horrible corners that aren't 90 degrees. I'd steer away from them as much as possible. Garden wall using blocks instead of bricks. I could do a block video. Yeah, that's something I could probably do. It'll be in the future, yes. I actually don't have any blocks, and those of you who are long-term viewers know I had a massive stack of blocks that I could do a few of them now. But yeah, it won't be just yet because I can't buy any blocks from anywhere. But I'll do one of those. Yeah, no worries. And hopefully that helped you out building the pier instead of having the 135-degree connection. Hopefully that helps answer your question. Tim Dev, what do you think of the Belgian way of bricklaying? If you mean like the pick and dip method, I think it's fantastic. I think it's such a good idea, and I will be using it. Sam Week, hi, I love the channel, thank you very much. When building a cavity block wall, does the inner and outer leaf of blocks need to line up, or best to stagger the bond, or does it not matter as they are essentially separate walls? The only way they need to line up is on the beds. On the perps, it doesn't matter, it makes no difference. Keep up the good work, thank you very much. So yeah, as long as you are gauged with bricks and blocks on the beds, you're fine. In regards to the perps, like I said, it doesn't matter, you don't have to marry them up. Fish Lips, funny name, love it. How many hours did it take to build that brick chair? As I spoke earlier, about a week. Alan Hamilton, right, okay, question. You said in the last Q&A how you got into bricklaying, and you touched on the whole using YouTube as storage, but I want to know why you picked up the camera. What was the mindset? Basically, the mindset was, apart from, like I said, using it as storage and things like that, was I watched a lot of YouTube before I started doing YouTube, and I thought, why the hell can't I do that? It's not like I'm watching grand designs on TV and I can't do that. I've got this platform and I'm able to do it. I want to make videos. I like watching YouTube. I'm a big fan of photography before I turned that camera into video mode. And then as soon as I did, I just fell in love with video. So hopefully that answers your question. I just thought, why can't I do that? And it just goes to show that anyone can do it. So if anyone's out there umming and ahhing about starting a YouTube channel, just do it, man. Just do it, because trust me, you'll love it. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay, one Uzi one. Please do the egg challenge. Put it in between your forearm and bicep and try to break it. Okay, I've not heard of that. Pretty sure that would just break, but I might try it. I don't know why I would try that, to be perfectly honest with you. It just seems like that's just going to go everywhere. Anyway, thank you for the question. John Anderson. Hi Rodian, many thanks for filming your house build and bricklaying. Thank you very much for watching. I've enjoyed every minute. My question is, when mixing mortar, how do I know when I've added enough water to give the correct workability? Also, what is the effect of adding too much or too little water? Thanks, John in Leeds. Well, John, I have done a series of 4 videos on how to mix mortar. I will leave the links to that little playlist in the description. I go into details about how to know when you've put enough water in, too much water in, like the telltale signs. So there's a lot more detail for it down there. What is the effect of adding too much or too little water? Too much water and it just slops all over the place. It slides off your trowel. It's just like laying bricks with soup. You just can't do it. When you have it just a little bit too much water, it's a pain, because you're like, it was perfect, but now it's just that little bit too wet. The best thing to do, if it's just that little bit too wet, leave it in the sun for a little bit and it should dry out. Too little water and you're like, it's just like it's what's known in the trade as dog shit. Trying to lay dog shit, it just doesn't happen. You break your wrist. It's called you can break your wrist on it. Well, that's what you say. If the labourer gives you muck that's too high, like, what do you want me to do? Break my wrist with that? Anyway, hopefully that answers your question. Steve, how do you think the construction industry will hold up after the virus has buggered off? I think it could be bad times. Oh, that is a real tough one. I genuinely have no clue, because we haven't been through, or at least I haven't been through anything of this scale before. I really don't know. I couldn't say. I would like to think that it would be back to normal after a few months, because people, if they're having jobs done, then they're going to want to keep doing it, but then people might get a lot more conscious about viruses and flus and things like that. So honestly, mate, I couldn't tell you. I really don't have a clue, mate. Hopefully, I'm praying that it's going to be fine, but we will see. Time will tell. Okay, Colin Aindo. Hi Rodian, thanks for all your videos. My bricklaying has gone up to a much higher level now. Well, thank you very much for watching. I'm glad it's improved. But I still can't seem to get my mortar mix right. Even 3-to-1 using building sand, it seems too sandy. Do you use a particular sand, or is it just a Feb mix plus that makes it so workable? Sorry, I seem a right novice. Colin, electrician from Plymouth. Well, Colin, hopefully we can sort you out here. 3-in-1, I would probably say it depends what you're using. 3-in-1 sounds like a bit of a stronger mix for bricklaying. I would use a 4 to 5-in-1 depending on the circumstance. I wouldn't use 3-to-1 because that's a bit too strong. It seems too sandy. I assume you mean by the colour. I'm not so sure. The sand, just the sand I use, I don't use a particular sand. As long as it's building sand, I'll use it. Feb mix is a massive one that makes it workable. If you mean too sandy as in it's not workable and you're not using Feb, you should be using Feb mix. Plasticizer, the way that I see it is you can't lay bricks without Feb. Just because you need that workability to smooth it around and get it in that right consistency. So if you aren't using Feb, definitely use Feb. Don't use too much Feb because it gets really sticky. I'd say if you're using a mixer, I get the whole bottle, I undo the top and just one, like as in you push it so that it squirts a bit of Feb out. I go 1, 2, 3, so 3 glugs in the mixer, and that generally works perfectly for me. Hopefully that is of help. When you say too sandy, hopefully you mean the workability rather than the colour. The colour you can get dye and just dye it, that doesn't matter. But workability, yeah, definitely use Feb. I know you're not being a novice, you're just asking a question. If you don't ask the question, you'll never know. So hopefully that answers your question. And our final one from the YouTube comments, we'll be getting over to the Instagram comments in a second. Owner, O-N-U-R, owner, hopefully that's how you pronounce your name. What do you do with the project after you finish filming and everything? This one is staying here. Obviously the play button is staying there. Things like the barbecue build or tutorials or things like that, or just an arch that I built, then I would just take it down, reuse the bricks. As you see, well, I don't know if you can see here, but I've got stacks of bricks here that I use for my tutorials and things like that. So generally they get taken down unless it's something like the chair, the fire pit, the play button, or the house. That's not something that's going to get knocked down, hopefully not anyway. So there we go, those are the YouTube questions. Now I'm just going to jump over to Instagram and answer the last few questions over on Instagram. Right, I'm just going to read straight through all of these. They are not all questions. Some of them are just people saying this chair looks great. Like Simon Dodman 13, dude, that is brilliant. Thank you very much. Jala Pangroa, that is amazing. Brickwork, how many bricks did that take? I bought 250 and I had like 6 left over, so it's 5 left over. I think it was 5, so 245, 244, something along those lines. Chap Macintov, beautiful mate, still reckon you need a cushion. I have a cushion on order. Don't you worry, I have a cushion. BCFC, Jack03, wow, that is what inspires me to keep doing my course at college, is because of how creative you can be when you put yourself up for it. Exactly, that is another reason why I love bricklaying, because it's just the creativity. You can build whatever you want to build. Anthony McRoberts, Mint, cheers pal, thank you very much. Fix It Tom, great stuff, thank you very much. King_RLJ, more cuts, looks really cool. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think I'm gonna have a few builds after this where I'm gonna have minimal cuts, because there was so many cuts in this. And after the circular pier I did, the triangular pier, my grinder needs a service now basically because of it. Okay, Craig Bambi Eddie, hi Rodian, that is amazing mate. Also I loved watching, let me say that again. Also, I've loved watching all your videos. As you know, you and Holly stay safe. Cheers, Craig. Thank you very much for subscribing and watching, Craig. I'm glad you like the videos. All Masonry Concepts, LLC. Beautiful work of art. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Wilfron1, wow, that's impressive. You should be proud. Your pics and vids have inspired me to be more creative and have also taught me little tricks and shortcuts from masonry work along the way. Great stuff, keep it up. Thank you very much, keep working, and those little tricks will help you go a little bit further along. Yeah, always looking for little tricks and shortcuts. So thank you very much for watching. Okay, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Kustin Radler, amazing. My initials also have RB. I would also claim it. Yep, no worries. Here we go, Kustin Radler. There you go. It's part of you as well. Vardy Dennis, very impressed with not just this build but also the vid. Getting more arty with it. Thank you very much. Is the missus helping, or is it just you because you have more time on your hands at the moment? You now have got a new standard, and what a standard. Thank you very much. My wife and I are making videos together. Yes, this particular video was all me. I did all of the filming, all of the building, all of the editing myself. And yes, that was one hell of a build. The edit itself, it was sort of like a 7-hour edit, probably one of the longest edits I've done. There was so much footage. I had about 2.5 hours worth of footage in total, and I made the video about 15 minutes long, I think it was. So the editing process is almost, if not as difficult as the build process. Okay, and on to the next one. Housing_disasters, can't wait for your Q&A. I've got two questions for you. I don't see you use profile much. Is there a reason? And have you ever used ours from different countries? Okay, I don't actually have any profiles. My profiles got pinched about 2-3 years ago, and I just haven't got around to buying any. I should have bought some when I was doing the brickwork on the house, but no, I haven't bought any. That's the reason why I don't use them, because I don't have any. I will be getting some. I do need some, so hopefully I'll be getting myself some profiles at some point. Chaz17, could you shout out my brickwork page at CK Brickwork? At CK Brickwork, go follow them, please. And also, how do you gain confidence with brickwork, as I'm only an apprentice? I think confidence comes with time. You have to just keep getting at it. What I would suggest, and I've said this a fair few times over the past few years, me doing these videos, concentrate on your precision and not your speed. As long as you're precise, speed comes with that precision, but also as long as you are precise, you will feel a lot more confident because you know that that's bang on. Like when I was talking about, I did the skill build competition. I knew it was precise, so I thought, oh, I did quite well, but I was happy with the fact that it was precise, and lo and behold, I won it. So I would say that, yeah, concentrate on your precision, and that will help make you feel a lot more confident with your brickwork. So don't worry about speed, precision. Ronald Bublitz, that is awesome. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Blue Man Fan 130, Steve, another fantastic channel. Bricklaying with Steve and Alex. I'll link their channel down below. They have just passed 8,000 subscribers, so let's get them on to 10. Everyone go down into the description, click on their channel, go and subscribe over there, and go and give them a few comments, because they are a fantastic channel, as well as Mark Hepp. Top lads. So, Blue Man Fan 130, Steve. Lovely job there, Rodian. Are you building a couch for us to sit on when we come down to visit? I think I might have to put an extra couple of seats here, because I tell you what, we should do a collab one day. I'm saying it, we should do it. I'm not sure what we could do. Obviously you guys are a bit further up north, but we need to work something out, because I reckon that'll be a good bit of fun. So yeah, cheers guys, and congrats on the 8K. PR Tipper, nice work Roden. I'm an expat in Australia, and I've always liked brickwork. I've always liked Australia. Going to be building a house myself soon. I found out that Aussie bricks are a different size to UK bricks. 230 by 110 by 75. A little bit bigger, so the ratio is different. Do you have any thoughts on how this might affect how to do arches and the like? I'm also going to be making mud bricks and trying out some of these techniques with them. Should I make them in a 6:3:2 ratio? Do you think you make it easier? Looking forward to the Q&A. Well, PR Tipper, I must say I do like Australia. I've worked over there for a while. I've probably said this a few times over the course of the couple of years. I particularly like working in cairns, but in respect to the different size bricks, I don't think it'll make any difference on how you do arches. The only thing you'd have to do is gauge them a little bit bigger, because if they're 75 and you have a 10mm bed, then it'd be 85mm rather than 75. Oh, excuse me. So I would say you just have to be careful of the gauge, that is all. But no, I don't think it would make any difference apart from them being slightly bigger. Mud bricks, I really couldn't comment on the best ratio to make mud bricks with, because I've never made mud bricks. I'd say just give it a go, trial and error. Try the 6:3:2 ratio and just see how it goes. Why not? What's the worst going to happen? Just do a few testers and go from there. That's the best I can say. And yeah, love to hear what part of Australia you're from, because like I say, I'm a bit of a sucker for Australia. Stuart Stone Stucco Mint, thank you very much, my friends. Philip Dean 09 wrote in, I have been researching the history of Zipper House that you filmed near Store Street, and I have located the architectural practice that designed the layout for the refurbishment. They confirmed that the brickwork was indeed bonded onto precast concrete panels. Okay, fair enough. In a factory in York, and transported to site by lorry and craned into position. The bricks were obviously specially made by a company in Germany. Not quite sure there was a question there, but that just goes to show. I made a video about this house. I went up to London before this whole lockdown happened, and there was a building. I called it the Zipper House. I forget what it's called, Lock House or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but I made a video on it. And yeah, I thought it was actual bricks, but turns out it's precast. Oh well, there we go then. Hopefully, well, there wasn't a question, but yeah, thank you, Philip, for letting me know that. Ballard31, my question for your Q&A is, if you were not such a handsome and talented brickie, you're too kind, and we're just an ordinary bloke like the rest of us, and we're thinking of self-building, what would you build with? Bricks, blocks, or both? All day long, I would do brick and block. Brick on the outside, block on the inside. The traditional brick and block built house. Depending on what style I was going for, I would possibly do block and block and have it rendered on the outside, but I probably would use monocouche. It's got that like pitted textured effect to it. I think it's called monocouche. Some people call it K-rend, I think, but it gives that pitted effect. I really like that look. So if I wanted a nice, clean, crisp, white rendered building, I'd use that and do block and block. But otherwise it's brick and block all day long. I don't like timber built houses. I've spoken about this in the past. I think they are fire hazards. I know you can treat timber to be fire retardant, but timber is timber and timber will always burn. You can't burn a brick, in my opinion. Okay, on to the next one. Dave85 Harris, do you need planning permission for a double skin garage wall with insulation? So I have some, I would say, brief knowledge with things like permitted development, etc., etc. To my knowledge, I haven't looked it up in sort of a good few years, so I don't know if it's been changed, but to my knowledge, you can build a 30 square metre single story garage in your garden as long as it's a metre away from any boundary on permitted development. But don't quote me on that, because like I say, times changed and it was a long time ago that I've done this, so that is what it used to be. Now, because you're doing a double skin garage wall with insulation, I would probably say that they would not let you do that on permitted development, because they might see it as like an annex or something like that. But this, you'll have to go onto the Gov portal. I'm assuming you're from the UK. I think it's planning.gov/portal or something along those lines, and there's a lot of information there, and it will tell you what you can have permitted development for and what you can't have permitted development for. But failing that, if you can't find that website, then I would say get in contact with your local council and just ask them the question. They'll be able to point you in the right direction. It's always best to ask your local council, because some councils have slightly different regulations, so it's always best to check with your council. So I would suggest doing that, but I don't think I think you would need planning permission for a double skin garage with insulation, because for reasons I said. But hopefully that helps. Silver_beast1, my question for your Q&A, got any advice on doing one? Also, one of these. Also, how did you do the arms in terms of setting out, as I would like to do one for my late father? Sorry for your loss, my friend. As a tribute to him, as I am a bricklayer myself, thanks if you could also give me a shout out. Silver_beast1. Oh, okay, as I'm trying to set up my own company up Nottingham Brickwork. Thanks, Jonathan Jonathan Hendren. Nottingham Brickwork. Got a page on Facebook, so shout out, there you go. Nottingham Brickwork. Go and check them out on Facebook. Also, silver_beast1 is his Instagram. Go and check him out over there. And yeah, Nottingham Brickwork. If you're in Nottingham, you need some brickwork doing, get in contact with Jonathan. He will sort you right out, I reckon. So in regards to want to build one of these, as I spoke earlier about the corners of the chair, it's exactly the same. I just marked out a circle like that Instagram post that I was saying about earlier. I put it up earlier. I'll put it up again, the Instagram post of me marking it out. All I did is mark out the circle. You do exactly the same as you would do for cutting voussoirs. For this, it was just a lot more small, a lot trickier. So hopefully that helps. And in regards to going along, I just sort of cut the voussoir out the front, running the length of the brick, and just did multiple of them going along, and that's why I turned it around. And also, as you saw on the video, I used a grinder to try and smooth off the edges to try and make it a bit round. They do need another going over, but I didn't want to go over them at the time because the muck was sort of wet, and I wanted to wait for it to go off a bit more. So I will go over these again to make them a bit more round sometime in the future. I probably won't make a video about it, I'll just do it. But they'll probably have another going over, like I said. But hopefully that helps. Yeah, just use the voussoir video on my channel. I'll probably link it below. Then basically it's exactly the same. Just mark out voussoirs and follow that in from there. Hopefully that answers your question. And again, my friend, I am sorry for your loss. But if you could build a nice little, what am I trying to say? A little tribute to your dad, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Have that in your garden as a constant memory. But yeah. Thank you for your question. And like I said, Nottingham Brickwork on Facebook. Go and check them out. Philip Dean09, again, hello, you were here a minute ago, weren't you? Cool, you've had a few questions. One for your Q&A. What does your Latin inscription Faber Muerius translate as? So it translates as bricklayer. It also translates as, I think it's bricklayer, architect of brick. There's a few other different, it's a very loose, Latin can be interpreted many ways from my very, very, very non-existent basic understanding of it. But Faber Muerius basically means bricklayer, brick mason, layer of bricks. There's so many different ways of saying it, but yeah, bricklayer. Hopefully that answers your question. Philip Dean09, again, Q&A. Question I have, conclusive proof that the zipper house is built. Yeah, okay, no worries. He's been in contact with the designers. Oh, fair enough. He's done a lot more research than I have. But thank you, Philip, for letting me know that. Mark W 2004-2018 Q&A. The question I have is, what is your best tip for someone starting a bricklaying apprenticeship? I would say, I've said it before, is the BDA Guide to Successful Bricklaying. That book, buy that book. It's like 20 quid, something along those lines. It helped me out massively, absolutely massively. I made a video about it, and I will leave the link for that book in the description. That, in my opinion, is a much better book to have as a textbook than the textbook they give you. At least the textbook I was given back sort of over, cool, about 12 years ago now. Yeah, so that, I don't know if the books are any better now, but I think that this book is so much more information, it's so much more detail. And again, starting your bricklaying apprenticeship, precision over speed. Don't worry about being fast, be precise. It's worth more in the long run. Speed comes eventually. You want to be precise. You don't want to be a fast, imprecise bricklayer. You want to be a precise bricklayer that will eventually get faster. So hopefully that is of some help. Simon Mail, complete beginner or just started practicing in my garage with a 4:1 hydrated lime mix. Just finished a small pyramid, but having problems with, I think, the lime staining the face. Been pretty careful not to smudge when cutting excess off laying. Cannot figure out what I'm doing wrong, so any help would be appreciated. We'll send a pic over. I haven't had a chance to check over the photo, but if you're having the lime staining the face, you shouldn't have any, if you're doing a 4:1 hydrated lime mix, you shouldn't have any lime on the face of your bricks. If it's white, sorry, I haven't had a chance to look at the photo. If it's white, there is a chance it could be efflorescence or lime leaching. Those are probably the two chances that it could be. I will probably have a look at that. Oh, what have I done? I was hearting all the comments as I was going. I forgot to do it, so I don't know where I am. Okay, yeah, so hopefully that helps. It could be efflorescence or it could be lime leaching. But like I say, if it is actually lime, then you might want to mix your muck up a little bit more so there is no lime in your muck. Hopefully that helps. Keep going at it, my friends. You'll get better at it, and yeah, bricklaying is a love, so hopefully you fall in love with it like everyone else has. can 3 Amiran, Amran, can 3 Amran. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. Amazing brickwork, looks awesome. Thank you very much. Sam Price, can you please explain the water cement ratio in mortar and in mixing concrete in your Q&A videos? Thank you. The water cement ratio, I don't really think there is a water to cement ratio, to be perfectly honest with you. When it comes to mixing mortar, the water part of it is something that you have to do on the fly. That's something, yeah, you do as you go along. It will be different for everyone because the sand you're going to put in, sometimes it could be wetter than other sand. Like if you get it in bags, there's condensation in it, it could get your bag wet, or it could be a lot drier, so you need more or less water. It's going to be a by the eye kind of thing. I have done videos on mixing mortar, so down in the description there'll be a little bit more detail about what to look for when it's getting too wet or when it's too dry, so hopefully that can help you out. Nick Sav, Q for the Q&A. When building a brick wall, for example, how many courses of brick would you go up before letting that muck go off and starting again? Tied to that, would you normally let the muck go off overnight, or is it weather dependent? When laying bricks, I would say it all depends on the weather. If it's a hot day, then you'd probably, if it's a really hot day, I've known that I've been jointing up every course. But sometimes you can do sort of like 6 foot of work. I would never build a wall higher than probably like 5 or 6 feet unless it's been backed up by block work. You could probably do, depending on, again, if it's like a normal day, you could probably do 6 foot of brickwork depending on the size of the flank and point the whole thing up afterwards. So it is all weather dependent. I would never let it go off overnight because you come back the next day and there's no way you're going to point that up because it would just be too hard. Right, I need to restart the clock again. Cool, this is going to be a long Q&A. That's the second or third time I've had to restart my camera again. Anyway, so yeah, the muck. So yeah, it's definitely weather dependent. You're going to have to, if it's a warm day, you're going to have to just sort of touch the joints and see how they feel. If they feel a bit damp or if they feel like they're getting a bit hard, just rub it up straight away. If you're new to doing it, then I would suggest just put your fingers on it, and if you can still feel the bit of residue on your fingers, then I'd say leave it a bit. But when you touch it and you don't feel residue on your fingers, then that's the best time to point up. I did go into a bit more detail about pointing in the pointing video, so again, Bricklaying for Beginners is down below and it will be in there, so hopefully that can help you out. Okay, Will Milnes, hopefully I pronounced your name right. Love your videos, Radiant. Thank you very much for watching. Have kept me a little bit sane. Yeah, it's been quite a different sort of few weeks so far. A couple of questions for you. If you were to advise on a career change at 27, would you go into the bricky trade, and or is it a young man's game? Also, would love a video on building a pizza oven. I've had a lot of people ask for pizza ovens, and I will do one in the future. But at the moment, I can't build one because I can't get hold of fire bricks. So they will come in the future. I will do a pizza oven. I promise you, I've had a lot of people asking me for it. So yes, it will come. I'm going to get out there and repointing at home first and then work my way up. Keep doing these videos and keep up the great work. I will keep doing the videos if you guys keep watching, and it seems like you are. So yes, I will keep doing it. In regards to changing career at the age of 27, I didn't do my apprenticeship until I was 21, 22. So a little bit later on. I don't see why not. Why not try it? I'm 30, 35, almost 36, and I'd probably say 30s maybe a bit too late in the game, but 27, I'd say if you're passionate and you are hardworking and you have got drive, then I would say do it. But it will be a lot more difficult to do it at that age because you've got a lot of learning to do. So you probably wouldn't be fully qualified until you're 30, 31 maybe, and then you need the experience. So you're pushing it a bit late, but who's to say you can't? Why don't you just go out and give it a go, look into it and try it? If you're saying it's a young man's game, are you asking in the physical sense? Then make sure you look after your back, because later in life, I know from personal experience that your back tends to get a little bit less sort of easy to put up with the constant bending over. But I'd say look into it. Like I say, if you've got the drive and the determination to do it, then do it. But obviously there is the chance that your experience may come under question because you haven't had as much experience. Because like I said, I'm 35 and I've been doing this for 18 years. So I've got I like to say, quite a bit of experience. I've done a lot of the things that I do now are because I've had that experience. So I hope that answers your question, and yeah, give it a go, my friend, why not? Stuart Shill MMA, nice. Only discovered you about 4 days ago, but I've sat and watched the majority of the content already. Well, thank you for coming and welcome. Class videos and the top bloke, thank you very much, too kind. My question is 21 too old to start bricklaying apprenticeship? I did my level 1 diploma at college straight out of school, and due to personal issues I've had to work in factories with some labouring on the side, etc. I now want to go back and pursue what I really wanted to do. Any tips on getting started? I feel like I'm too late to it already. Keep the videos coming, mate. In the time I've been watching, you've gained 2k subs, so you're definitely doing something right. Yeah, it certainly seems like recently something's been going right, because we seem to be climbing in subscriber numbers, views and everything. We seem to be doing very well. So all of those of you who are turning up, thank you very much for watching and subscribing. It really does mean a lot to me. I really do appreciate it. This is going to be a part back to the question a moment ago. 21 too old to start bricklaying? Now for that one I would say definitely not. I didn't start my apprenticeship till I was 21, and I've done all right. Bearing in mind I was on the trowel before that. I've been laying bricks since I was about 17, but I didn't do my apprenticeship until I was 21, and I learned so much more. Basically the years I did beforehand was just learning trowel movements in my hand, not really the technical part of it. So I would say 21 is not too old at all. You can definitely jump in there with that, and hopefully you do, because bricklaying is a fantastic trade. Okay, and this is the last one. Isaac Judd, what got you into bricklaying and how did you start your career? Like I said, it was my dad who got me into bricklaying, my family who got me into bricklaying. How did I start my career? Well, basically I came out of college. I did art in college for 2 years because I like art, I like creating. So I came out of college and then basically went to work with my dad for, I worked with him for 4 years, and then yeah, I went to Australia for a year, worked over in Australia for a year, came back, did my apprenticeship. So I got starting through my family. And hopefully that is everyone's question answered. Now, before I drop off and let you guys go, I would just like to say to Jake Greenleaf, thank you very much for sending me that photo of you and your dad doing the pier, and you looks like you're doing a fantastic job, your dad building that pier, and you'll be a fine bricklayer one day. I'd like to say, yeah, just a quick shout out to you. Sorry I didn't get to shout you out before. I was busy doing the chair, but there you go. Jake Greenleaf, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for sending me that photo. Right, okay guys, that has been the Q&A. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Hopefully I have answered all your questions as thoroughly enough as you had wanted. With that, I'll leave it there for today. I'm going to have fun editing this video, so hopefully it'll be up in a few days. So please do leave a like down below if you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you aren't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Remember, bricks laid, wages paid. And I will see you guys in the next one. So take care, and I'll see you later. Ta-ra.